By chip order. In seat number 2 from my hometown, San Jose, California, with 700,000 in chips, David Larson. In seat number 5 from Houston, Texas, with 1,425,000, DJ Alexander. In seat number 4 from Germany, 2,435,000 chips, Rayo.
Man favorite.
In seat number 6 from Mountain View, California, 2,480,000, make a return trip to the final table here at Thunder Valley, Ian Steinman. In seat number 1, he has won the World Series Poker main event today from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 2,755,000, Joe McKeon. And our chip leader in seat number 3 from Wuhan, China, with 3,330,000, Ping Lu. These guys left off at 5,000, 40,000. That's where we'll start today with the button in seat number 1, starting with Joe. Let's shuffle up and deal. 5,000 on the end, 20, 40,000. Let's shuffle up and deal.
If I'm breathing heavy, it's really not a tell.
All right, thanks for joining us here in Thunder Valley. This is a near and dear WPT. Ping started the day as a chip leader. For that little minor blip with the Queen 9, he'd probably be in first. He's still near the top. Rayo, he's our fan favorite right now. Limps in, just tries to see the flop, and DJ has a real hand and just picks up the pot.
Now they're counting the bets, which makes it easier for them to just pay attention, I think.
That's great. And of course, it speeds up the game a little bit.
Right. Which is always a good thing.
That is always a good thing. Joe's opening the King 10 off here. He describes his playing style as perfect.
Who's that, Joe?
Joe, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's probably pretty close to it. He's a great player, that's for sure.
He is.
And he's winning personality to match.
He is called by Rayo here in the small blind. Actually, I think Rayo might be the button. Pretty big flop for Joe. You can see their percentages are still very close here. But in actuality, the way this hand is going to play, Rayo's just going to lose it almost all the time. Which kind of highlights how difficult it is to play small pairs, even though they go down in value when the stack sizes go down. So having 44 big blinds for Rayo is close, but it's kind of a big 3-bet. He's not getting a great price, and you are way behind if they have a pair. So, and being heads up, if you flop anything, you're going to continue a little bit. So it can be expensive too. It's not things that people might not notice about it without thinking about it too deeply. Is it makes people play more hands, so the stacks collide quickly, more quickly six-handed, so it makes the whole tournament play deeper from now on the way out. Rayo's picking up some hands. Guess he put out 85 and went back to his stack for one more chip, maybe. Wasn't a very tough ruling for them to just say, no, it's just 85.
Final table.
Great.
And I think he's got the chip lead now.
He does, for sure. Yeah, he definitely does. He passed Ching a little bit ago.
Raised to 85,000.
85,000 to go. DJ falls over to Ian now.
So on top of the Tournament of Champions, there's also the Player of the Year race going on, and Joe is in the hunt. I think if he wins this, he might move up into second place, is what I read so far on the year.
I believe so, yeah. He'll be right behind Art Papazian, who has won 2 events on the World Poker Tour this year.
And DJ Alexander is, I think he's currently 27th, and he has a final table also already at the Legends. He got 4th.
Right.
So he could move up into contention, I think, by winning this.
He's a good guy. I don't know much about him, but every time I've seen him in a tournament, seems to be having a good time and a true professional as well.
Easy to get along with, and we got a little spicy 3-bet here from Ian with a Queen-9 suited.
I'm going to win a pot. Not prefab, I think.
Rayo's been a little more active, so maybe he thinks Rayo's getting out of line and he wants to capitalize on that. Rayo has actually just had very good hands so far. He hasn't really gotten out of line.
Rayo makes the call. We're taking 2 players to the flop.
Rayo's going to call with the suited connector, whereas it was a similar situation. Ian folded the suited connector. Even though Ian had position, Rayo's now out of position calling the suited connector. And that could be a sign of, I mean, I might like to call with this 10-9 suited. I don't want to blame him, but calling out of position with worse hands, it might be a sign of his inexperience.
So Ian just wins the pot right here, right?
Yep, a great flop for Ian.
You see the 4-color deck, and we do have WPT Deep Stacks won an award as well, so we're excited about that on the World Poker Tour. There's the WPT Deep Stacks coming up here in early April, along with another tournament, kind of celebrity invitational. So
I will be there.
you have a chance. You're one of the celebrity players. Ben's Thunder Buddies, we can like to call it.
The Thunder Buddies event. Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of a smaller version of the Shooting Star. You get to take shots at some.
Correct. We'll have Lynn Gilmartin. Adam Pliska is actually going to play as well. Mike Sexton will be here.
Wow, that's great.
Doing a book signing. So if you get a chance to come out, it's April 3rd and 4th, and the Deep Stacks event follows it on the 5th.
So the Thunder Buddies Bounty Tournament is a smaller buy-in, right? 1,000 or 500?
That's 500.
500.
And if you play in that, you get to go to golf that morning on the 3rd. There's a Mike Sexton book signing. You're going to get
some stakes out here. Pretty good. I heard there was a rumor that Lon McCarron might be in the building today playing a side event.
Yes, he is. He's actually playing in I think a $200 tournament they have going on here today. We'll try and get him to stop by the booth.
Yeah, man, I could use some pointers. He's like a Hall of Fame commentator.
That is correct. He just won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the American Poker Awards. Him and Norman Chad.
Pretty awesome.
And hearts, 5 of hearts, deuce of clubs.
Talk some poker, Tyler. Let's go.
I want to talk about Thunder Valley more. Joe's just keeping the pressure on with pretty straightforward raise and C-bet. Rayo's calling with the overcards, the backdoor flush draw. It's a good call, I like it. He's got a look on his face like, I'm not going to be pushed around like everyone else, Joe. And Joe can feel it. Joe's sharp. Wow. I mean, that's a good check.
Queen of diamonds.
I can see why you don't want him in the TOC with you. Gets away for the absolute minimum.
He did a good job. He didn't fire again. I mean, if he fires the turn, Rayo's definitely not going anywhere. He might even raise. He's a character.
He likes to fire, that's for sure. Look at those bracelets.
Wow. That's quite a few. So I wonder if he goes to a festival, he just keeps the bracelet on for the whole year.
Yep.
Maybe.
Wow. I like it. It's not timid. He's in there with Queen 9 offsuit here. Yeah.
So far, everybody's playing really well. I haven't seen anything.
He's going to win this pot too.
How you doing?
What's going on here with David? He just really likes the price. He's thinking
Not
about
much.
coming in with Jack 5 off. No, gives it up.
Looking for TV time.
It might be.
What a pot! Big money.
Rayo's fans.
Raised to 95.
David is opening the Queen 6 off. Using it solid image, try to get away with something here. Rayo's thinking he might like the price of his suited hand.
Raised to 300.
And he comes out with a 3-bet. He senses David's weakness.
320,000.
A couple of guys really playing the game here. I think that should do it. Rayo getting aggressive. Doubled through Sam and
Put him close to the edge with 2 10s versus queens, 1 of 10.
turn.
Hit the turn.
I knocked Ari out of this tournament.
Raised 90,000.
Joe's bragging about busting Ari.
I don't know, maybe not.
90,000.
I'd be very surprised. I have a pretty wide block.
Okay, folks. Pink one, over to Rayo.
I like that Knight Shield ring he has on. It's kind of cool.
What?
Rayo's gonna make that call.
Oh, wow, yeah. Rayo calling from the small blind with the ace-4 off.
Not afraid to mix it up with Joe here, that's for sure.
Probably wanted to 3-bet. It's a better hand to 3-bet just because it blocks good hands and it's tough to play. But he had just 3-bet 1 hand or 2 hands before, so maybe he thinks he would look too weak. And now that he's flopped an ace, he's got Joe in a trap.
He's now wiggled out of that trap.
He's now got a double gutter.
I swear we played like this exact game yesterday.
Joe said they played almost this exact hand the night before. Setting something up here.
At 320,000.
Joe has 320,000.
How much do you hate having ace-4 here in this spot?
Yeah, it's really tough.
Rayo says call.
If you just decide from the beginning you're holding on no matter what. This is what it looks like Rayo's doing. But I probably would not have continued with ace-4 there. Gotta give Rayo credit for his toughness.
His 4 kicker is now a jack kicker.
Yeah, which could help. That 10 is just not a scary enough card. If it were, I guess all the scary cards are gotcha. So Joe decides not to fire the river. Traps that he would be setting. I wonder if Joe would have bet the river.
85. Raised to 85.
85,000. Quickly to pink and the big one.
I know that sound. It means the last hand of the level, and I think they're going to take a 10-minute break.
And the level is up. So we are now 5K ending, 25,000, 50,000 lines.
Looks like no break because they start in the middle of the level. Is that why?
Yes. Actually, we started at the beginning of the level, but because of the break schedule, it fell after the first hour.
What is this weapon Rayo's wearing around his neck?
Quite sure. He's got a lot of unique items on his body.
Is that a wooden tie? Maybe it's a wooden tie. That's pretty cool.
Rayo's now the chip leader as they head into the first break.
Wow, yeah. So what do we think about this, the new trend with the big blind ante?
Yeah, so it is something that I am trying and I will be using. We're going to be using it at the Tournament of Champions. You'll see it there. And it's basically instead of one player, or instead of the players anteing for themselves, it comes in a single big blind ante. So the player in the big blind, if it was 1 in 200, would now ante 200 on the big blind instead of anteing a quarter for everybody at the table.
He's just covering everyone's ante.
Yeah, and it speeds up play. And we believe that you get more hands out and that it makes the structure better for the players, but it also makes it easier for the dealers and other players to, I guess, not pay.
Rayo is a little bit smaller opening, going to 105 instead of 120.
I didn't think this final table was going to take too terribly long, and it still might not. But they are very deep.
They're pretty deep, yeah.
Might have to step out for a Rockstar energy drink. Which is our new sponsor on the World Poker Tour.
The official energy drink.
That's correct. Cheers. Like the table talk at the final table. There's not a lot of table talk on a lot of these final tables.
But it would have taken 2 streets. He would have had to bet the turn and the river, or the flop and the turn.
I saw you play a big hand against it, though, yesterday. Yeah, it's kind of his hand.
And a big hand for Joe.
Joe. I mean, what's going to happen if he starts getting real hands? His hand looks so pretty.
Rayo will for sure be calling at least, if not 3-betting. He calls. That's just such a good flop for Joe.
Yeah. Not looking to get too tricky, I guess.
No, he could check back to try to get Rayo to bluff, but because there's just not that much out there. But if Rayo's sticky enough, maybe he'll call with anything. Makes it a little easier. Will Rayo open the 6-5 off on the button? I think he probably will. DJ, I'm sure, could have sensed the weakness, but he already has a really good hand anyway, so I think we're going to see a 3-bet here. Oh, man, poor Ian. That hand is so pretty, but you only have 17 big blinds. You just have to let it go.
Rayo's a little tricky. It says Andreas on there, so Rayo's, it must be his nickname. But Rayo plays a lot of hands.
Yeah, he's not scared. He plays well for only being playing for 18 months. He must have really dived into learning.
To disguise my voice or something on this.
No, I think
stream.
you're. I think you're okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, first time on my WPT stream. I'm amazed. You guys have the same deck of cards we do at the World Series of Poker.
Wow.
It goes 4 each and all the way. Yeah, it's
52 of them. Yeah. If you need any pointers, I can help you out while you're in the booth.
I'm on break. I still got chips, so I got about 10 minutes. You can stick around if you want, man. You know, I'll be happy to have you here.
So what's going on? You're playing. There's a 250
I'm playing
or something.
The finale.
The finale out there.
The
okay.
finale.
You doing okay?
It's going well. Yeah, it's only because I have something to do this evening.
Okay. Okay.
I'm collecting chips. My brother and his wife are coming up from the Bay Area, and we're going skiing tomorrow. But
oh, nice.
I'm hosting them tonight, but they're going to show up without me.
There's a character here in this episode that you're familiar with, Joe McKeon.
Joe McKeon, that's right. Our main event champ from a few years ago. Joe is a little under the weather, I'm hearing.
He is, yeah. But his spirits are still bright.
I like Joe a lot, and he was known as kind of a prickly dude back a few years ago, but
whoa, look at
that's
this.
a pretty good flop for Joe. That's a world champ flop. But I was talking, I'm playing with Chris Hinchcliffe at my table right now in the finale, and he got a chance to play with Joe in this event, and was very impressed with McKeon and his table manner, his table persona, and it's been, I guess, a little coming out party for him for a few years, and he's had to. He's been forced to.
Yeah, and he handles it better than people expect, actually. I think Joe's pretty personable at the table most of the time.
Yeah, and his bet here with the quads is going to get a call.
That is quite a bet. You have to give him credit for that. Most people are going to check and try to hope somebody bluffs or runs into something. Joe's going to get a street from
Who
King
puts who
10
on
high.
quads, Tyler, anyway, you know?
No, that's not the thing we do. But getting a bet out of King 10 high right here is really valuable. So Joe did really well betting the flop.
Now, I know I've seen Andreas around here and there, but I think if I can channel Norman Chad here, these Americans have to gang up on the German. What is this? We got all American flags and the one German. He was a chip leader a little while ago. I don't know, is he still?
No, he's not. Joe is overwhelming chip leader now.
Yeah.
That's a pretty
and
good
that's
one.
how he came into the final table, right?
Yeah,
as
he
a
was.
chip leader.
No, he was second in chips at the final table.
Oh, but when I looked up, turned around, he became chip leader. And there's a lot of competition for that, too. More and more, Tyler. I mean, you know, do you hit those up ever when you're traveling? And do you go, I mean, they've got the heart, well, of course, the HPT, and then you get there's another, what's that in the middle of the country there?
The mid-states.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, yeah.
I do some, you know. If it's here, Thunder Valley hosts every one of the tours because it's one of the best.
Well, you got to come home and see Mom.
And my mom is here. I have family in Sacramento, so I do when it's here, and I might, if it's convenient, hit a couple of small ones, a couple of WPT deep stacks out there, here and there.
Well, you and I got way back on that Action 8. I didn't get to play last night, but did you play last night?
I did, yeah. It didn't last very long, but it's a cool event. Action 8. It's a Thunder Valley special. They do an 8-handed. Antes from the start. The antes are kind of big, and and it's unlimited reentry. So there's a lot of action. The Action 8.
The Action 8, absolutely. Yeah, you and I think we bought in about the same time. We're at the same table. We both got knocked out similar time. And we rebought. We ended up at the same table the next time, and you and I both made the final table. I think you knocked me out. No, it was Mr. Watchman, I think, that knocked me out.
Oh, yeah.
He had the ace queen, I had the eights. I don't remember it that well.
About a sore subject. Whoa, the 6 on the river.
All right. So you got pocket 6s. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. And again, Andreas, it was in the hand against McKeon when he had the flop the 6s.
But because he has the ace of hearts, he's going to fire off a little bet when the heart comes in the end.
That's a good sign.
As a bluff. And the Three sixes makes an easy call. Might not have been such an easy call had the 6 not come. So, tough one for Rayo. That may have worked if it weren't the
How
one
good
of
are
two
you?
outs.
How good are you at telling if somebody's on a flush draw?
How good am I?
What
at
are we
telling?
looking for? What are the
Jeez.
signs we look for, Tyler?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
So I came to you.
People,
Matt has no idea. He's sitting there and his fingers in his ear. He has no idea what's going on.
a check raise is often going to be a draw.
It's a weight off your shoulder, I guess, when that first person goes out.
Absolutely, yeah. These guys both mix it up pre-flop, these two, Ping and Rayo. Ping's going to come in with a raise from out of position to 130. So it's a little bit bigger. They've been all raised into 120. But now, since he's out of position, he makes it a little bigger to try to get more folds.
What do you think of that call with 10-8?
I think it's fine. They're both they're deep enough. It's blind versus blind. You have position. I think it's fine. And this flop is going to win for Ping most of the time. Go ahead and continuation bet, and you're going to win.
One tank could be a really good thing for him, as he has a great reputation for being aggressive in certain situations when he has the ability to fire. And look at this, Rayo wakes up with ace jack of hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know Ian that well, but he does have a reputation here amongst the locals of being aggressive, tough young player.
Ian with ace 9, 125,000 to go.
Oh, he's
On
going
the
to
button, and he's going to make a raise. He's 3-betting.
Yeah, he's really stepping it up. Wow, this is
Oh my goodness, look at this.
what a spot for David.
And he says, I'm going to raise it up beyond that. Doesn't shove, wisely so, of course.
Pretty
850,000 going.
pretty quick, no Hollywood, just firing it out there. I think that probably should do it, but if Rayo thinks he's getting messed with, he could end up raising or putting it in here, but I wouldn't expect either of them to play this hand any further.
He's definitely a good man.
David says 6-2 of clubs, 6 deuce of clubs, no thanks. Over a Ping with jack 8, who's on the button, and 60,000 to call. He's going to come along. And the small blind, Rayo with ace jack.
He's got kind of an awkward stack for ace jack. He's going to want a 3-bet for sure, but then anything that happens after that is going to get weird. He has to play the pot, or if he gets 4-bet, it's all going to be tough with ace jack. Luckily for him, he's not up against anything, so it just works out.
Rayo, one of the more excited guys coming into the final table. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch some of the interviews with the players before they sat down today, but man, he's just grinning ear to ear. Could not have been happier to be in this scenario, and rightfully so. Obviously, very exciting. But you know, when it's something that you see the players getting really fired up for. I don't know. He exuded that enthusiasm. I was really excited to sit down and call some of the action today with him on the final table. So
Dave,
glad to see that he is still hanging on.
Dave, you're kind of a hipster yourself, right? Is that a wood tie that he's wearing?
Look, I am not nearly hip enough to wear a wood tie. There's no way I can pull that off. I also, I know I saw in his bio that he loves going to Burning Man.
Yeah.
That sounds like my worst nightmare. I would hate that. Don't put me in the desert for 4 days with, just a bunch of hippies and stuff on fire. That sounds terrible.
How about those bracelets, though? Those are pretty sweet.
The bracelet's pretty cool. Maybe I'd go that far. But the wood tie and the Game of Thrones ring, like you mentioned earlier, I don't think I can pull that off, man. Ping with his Queen 9 of diamonds. Rayo with the Ace 8. And over to Joe now. 10-8 offsuit.
Oh, we just got
that one.
A limped pot. This might be our first one. so far today.
I believe so. The flop. 7, couple of 5s out there. 2 hearts as well, but no hearts being held as of right now. Ping with the 25% and Rayo with the ace high is currently in control on the button. We'll just check it as well.
Lots of times the original limper will treat it as if he were the original raiser and will just c-bet in a spot like that just because you're used to raising first. I think Ping plays a little more straightforward pre-flop and he's just going to check it on the flop. But now he hits a queen.
Good turn there for Ping. Let's see what he does. A pot of 260,000, and he is going to bet into that.
Rayo did not even consider it with the ace high.
Didn't he?
Gave it up.
Just a quick 40,000 to go. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
We're hearing you over the top, Dave. So Ian raises it up, and everybody's folding around. So Rayo defends the 4-5 off just because he was getting a good price in the blind. Ian's going to c-bet the Jack 6-6 flop. And that's good enough for a win. And your name on that cup there in the background?
Win multiple events, you get a diamond stud. So we do have multiple winners.
Did not know that.
Some 3-time winners as well. Tyler, a fan favorite out on the World Poker Tour and looking for his 2nd title.
Yeah.
Actually going to Jacksonville very soon for the WPT Deep Stacks.
Oh yeah.
That's where you won your event.
I've been pretty lucky in Jacksonville.
You get a 1st, a 4th, and a 12th, right?
The 12th was the 14th, but yeah.
Strong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bounty event too, which is fun. You know, the 5K buy-in and then 2,500 for knocking people out, which is fun. We have a little bounty event coming here to Thunder Valley we talked about earlier. Little 560, bunch of celebrity bounties. It's gonna be a fun event. It's actually to celebrate the opening of the new poker room. This is the first big event they've had, this Rolling Thunder, but that is a grand opening celebration in April.
Yeah, they're calling this a soft opening, but they did a pretty good job with it.
Seems great.
JC Tran also confirmed for that event on April 4th. And Justin Hammer.
Justin Hammer is coming to that event, huh?
He's one of the Thunder Buddies.
What is he, the tournament director? Is that his title at the
Tournament
Commerce?
coordinator at the LA Poker Classic. Makes some great videos.
Sure does. DJ String Cheese, he's been called. Rayo checked this back, getting tricky with the ace-queen, queen-high flop, and he checks it back. Gets an ace on the turn, but still no action. Trying to get tricky. Good effort.
Feels to me like he's had some kind of poker lessons or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Playing, a year and a half.
Maybe over some ayahuasca or I don't know what they do in Burning Man.
Quinoa?
I don't know. I don't think quinoa's a drug. I know you've never had any.
Quinoa I've never eaten, you're right. I've seen it before, though. I'm into flaxseed and chia seed, though.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow. Thought you were against that kind of stuff. You seem like a meat and potatoes kind of guy.
As you can tell. A wood tie is something special, though. I do like that.
I could rock a wood tie.
Yeah.
Raises to 125,000. Ian's gonna fold.
Not as well as Andreas Rayo. Neep.
David makes the call.
I still think you guys are being too cavalier about your ability to pull off a wood tie. That's you have to be someone special to do that. Man. It's not easy to do.
That's true.
I could do the Game of Thrones ring, probably.
On to the flop here, a couple of 8s. So this could get a little interesting. Is top pair for Ping as well as for Rayo.
Ping
Rayo
has a
with the
couple
top
of,
pair and the top.
yeah, and Ping has a couple of backdoor draws too, the straight draw and flush draw.
$300,000 more to go for Ping. Call. On to the turn.
Wow.
Deuce clubs and more possibilities here for Ping.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
Rayo is all in.
And
Ping is going to call him down. He's asking for a count.
he's asked for a count. This is interesting because Rayo, I mean, that's such a good card for Rayo. He's got to love it. But Rayo is also the original Razor, and that board just doesn't hit the original Razor that often. So Ping's got to think, at least consider he has the best hand here on top of the draw. There's at least some chance that it's the best hand.
12 outs.
So he has to call 1.3 million. The pot is 2.3 million. So it's 1.3 to win 3.6.
Only got one time chip left, which is
Wow, good fold.
I'm not good enough to fold.
And Rayo seems
for
happy with the fold. Yeah.
You have to be pretty sure you're beat to fold there because you have to add all that added equity that even if you are beat, you can still get there.
We have something on the World Poker Tour called the Wonder Cam. I'd actually like to see that right now, which is to see the river card.
Oh.
I would like to have seen that river card.
That's just for the televised episodes.
That's
you get
correct.
the Wonder Cam, huh?
Yes.
Like you wonder what the river card is?
Correct.
Oh.
I'm calling it up for these WPT final tables. There's not been a lot of instances where I see somebody dwindle the World Poker Tour. Poker has evolved. Faded Spade is the evolution of the playing card for today's poker players around the world.
Knew there was a reason we had you here, Dave.
I know. I can read. How about that?
You're awesome.
Rayo's going to make the call. Jack 9 of hearts. Ian's going to check it. Queen 7 off. To a flop we go. 8-3-4. All spades. Excuse me. Club at 2 spades. Yep.
The graphics switched up on us there.
Yeah, they jumped on me a bit, but there we go. 4, 3, 8, 2 spades, 1 club, and either player has spades in their hand. Ian's going to take the lead here after a check from Rayo.
Rayo is sharp enough to know that Ian is going to bet almost everything there, so he's kind of kicking himself for not just betting himself.
That's chicken the broadcast. Everyone for a walk in during the puppy.
Couple of cowboys here for Ian.
Could get sneaky with a limp. He's going to go with the normal raise. Joe is going to at least call.
Joe makes the call. Heads up to the flop. Flop is ace, 7, 5, 2 hearts.
Ace, 7, 5. Couple of hearts out there. That's not going to affect either player. Ian's hand far and away the best still. Let's see how he plays.
He bets 150,000.
spicy float from from Joe. And the ace 5-7 with the queen 10. Just not relenting.
Jack of clubs there, turn. Yeah.
Sorry, not relenting because he knows that Ian's going to bet that flop 100% of the time that he raises pre-flop or near it. And that is a good card to bluff with. Got a little bit more equity with the gut shot after the jack comes.
Joe bets 370,000.
You just hate to lay down kings.
Yeah, he's not going to be folding kings on this flop.
Why not?
On this.
Why not? Because of the ace.
Well, it's blind versus blind, and you're up against a guy who's creative and tough. The only reason to fold right now is because you know a big bet is coming on the river, and you're not going to call that too. So if you are going to call the river, or if you don't know a big bet is coming, then you have to be calling here because Joe can call wider. Oh no!
Oh, devastating card for Ian.
That is unbelievable.
He makes his set on the river, and that gives Joe Broadway just crushing. So if Ian had any doubt in the back of his mind what you guys were talking about with being worried about that ace, no longer. Instead, it runs out perfectly for Joe. It sets a huge trap for Ian.
And Ian goes with a big lead, I think.
Ian bets out 800,000.
And Joe is going to shove, and
Sure
he is
enough.
going to call.
This is a game changer. 800,000 is the bet. 2.2 million already in the center. And yeah, like you said, Tyler, I don't see there being any way all the chips don't get in here.
The look back.
Poor Ian, this is not fair.
That is the worst card in the deck for him.
Joe goes all in.
Yes, wow. Yeah, wow indeed.
Two biggest stacks at the table.
Wow, he's actually considering this. This is amazing. I would have high-fived people and called already.
It's taken 30 seconds so far.
We've had to stop you on your victory lap until you didn't win.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Just when you think it's your dream card, it's your death card, you know? I mean, it's such a terrible card for Ian. He's burning through those time extensions. Like you said, Tyler, he's really considering this.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
This is his second 30 seconds.
There's no way he gets away from this, right?
He has 8 of those time extensions.
Would be pretty amazing. Look at him. He knows he's beat somehow. That's unbelievable.
How can he think he's beat here?
I don't know. I'm shocked.
So third 30 seconds. And he's stacking up those time chips.
This is unreal that he's considering getting away from this.
This is my fourth one if I hit it again.
And yeah, the time's wearing on him. Maybe without the time, maybe he would get away with it. Can't
Fourth
believe it.
time extension. And he's just stacking them up.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
Man.
Oh, my goodness.
I guess I can't wait 30 minutes to find out before I make a decision. Huh?
5.
Incredible.
This is unreal.
I'm like riveted right unbelievable fold.
I'm just gonna keep using it until my hand's killed. Huh? Another one?
6 time extensions. So I know how long he's waited on this one. 3 minutes.
Not going to be in a spot this hard again. Why is he beating himself up?
He folded.
Oh my God!
What is that?
That is unbelievable.
What an
That
incredible
is so
fold.
awesome.
Wow.
Joe's sick.
Wow.
Joe is sick in this
Wait
spot.
till he sees what he had.
Joe's hand was perfectly camouflaged. How did he figure that out? Tyler, take us through
I
that.
can't do it.
What happened?
He just believes that Joe can't
on a set of
possibly-
aces?
That's possible.
Yeah, that's
but
the
I
only
think
thing that he could
and
have
the
thought,
Queen
right?
10
Is that
makes
Joe's
sense. He knows that Joe would float that flop a decent amount. He could have Queen 10 of hearts also, so it might not even be a pure float. But he knows that that is a possible hand. And he also, the big lead on the river, so Joe bets the turn, and Ian calls. On the river, now Ian leads back into Joe pretty big, so he knows that Joe knows that's a pretty big hand.
It's Ian Steinman. It's not Phil Ivey. What are you talking about?
They both know that Joe knows Ian has a good hand when he bets the river. They both know that.
At least for these next like 5 hands, Ian Steinman is the new Phil Ivey.
Oh, he's the best. Yeah.
Unreal.
So that river,
was,
he knows that Joe isn't going to be bluffing very often because he knows he has a good hand.
One of the best folds I've ever seen.
It is the best
was
fold I've
unreal.
ever seen. I'm just trying to work it out.
He doesn't.
It is literally the best fold I've ever seen.
Wow. Knowing he's beat. I mean, he knew it like.
Yeah. But what blows my mind is Joe could shove for value with worse. It's not just a bluff or no bluff situation. Like maybe he couldn't. Maybe that's why. Maybe Joe just wouldn't shove. I don't know what else. Well, he can't have aces and kings because he just called pre-flop. So it could be aces, but there's not many other value hands that could really be, I guess, that are worse. Man, that's crazy. That's awesome.
But I mean, he called the turn. So he can't think that he has aces or an ace.
Yeah. Oh, you mean when Ian called the turn?
Right.
At that point, you can't give him credit for an ace because there's too many things he can have. He might have an ace, but
Casual 1-2. Just play for all the chip spot. Nearly anyway.
and how about this one? Rayo wakes up. Couple aces in his hand. Lines have gone up, 40,000, 80,000, 10,000 is the ante. This is level number 29. Over to Ian. He's got King Jack off, 170,000 more for him to call.
and he's gonna call.
David says no thanks. Ping's got Queen 5 of clubs. Wouldn't shock me to see him come along at this price.
I think you will.
The 90,000, he is going to come right along. And 3 players going to the flop here. And how about that? A set of aces for Rayo right out of the gate. And Ping makes a pair of queens on that flop.
Ian has a straight draw too, and he's going to go ahead and bet his straight draw. So Rayo's check, his trap is working so far.
205,000 is the wager.
And Ping, knowing that Ian will bet in position pretty wide, is going to call with his pair of queens. he may have discounted Rayo even being in the hand because he was the original raiser and checked it already.
And Rayo is loving every second of that. Yeah, just forget about me. My set of aces over here, guys.
Now, in three-way pots, people don't bluff twice very often, so calling to set a trap for the turn is maybe not the best play.
Oh. What is going on at this?
Amazing.
At this tournament, man. This is a wild final table. That's the second set of quads that we've seen. We had the set of quads earlier from Joe, and now here we go. 4 aces for Rayo. Pot's at 1.2 million, and Ping's going to slow that one down, even though he just hit a 5 on the river. Doesn't mean anything to his hand. It's ace paired.
I think Ping's probably going to get away. They're probably going to both get away now when Rayo bets. If he bets, I assume he will.
That'd be a pretty epic move to check your quad aces on.
Yeah, if it were heads up, even checking the quad aces.
Will he show it or not?
Yes, he will show it. I would lay 3 to 1.
You have to, like you said, Matt. It is a rule of law.
Yeah.
Best hand I ever played in my life. I mean, not the best hand. No, you played it well. No. I mean, that's not what I wanted to say. I mean, we got you. This one has a spot. I'm not kidding. I mean, I don't know. At 3 pair. I don't know. I literally saw the quad, and it's an ace. Yeah.
Yes, he did show it.
Yeah, he showed it emphatically.
Wasn't giving you 3 to 1.
I was laying 3 to 1.
Oh, yeah.
1 minute, 2 aces to get.
If I'd have known that, I probably would have taken it. Too late.
Yeah, I think the queen is an easier fold there because it's a 3-way pot, so Rayo's not going to come out bluffing very often in that spot. It's too hard to get a bluff through.
That makes sense.
And there's not things that are worse than a queen that he'd be betting hoping to get called.
Even perhaps a better kicker.
Right. Yeah, maybe if Ping had king queen there, then maybe he might want to call because Rayo might have queen 10 or queen jack. But
A little more on like 2 8.
And that flop is the 3 of clubs, jack of spades, 6 of clubs.
because of the 3-way pot aspect, also I don't love Rayo's check on the, or Rayo's just call on the flop, because you're playing it 3 ways. People are not going to be bluffing very often when it's 3 ways, so you're kind of giving anybody who has a draw, like the king jack, a free roll, because if they're not going to pay you anymore unless they get there, you're giving them a free roll to hit it. So you might as well just get them out of the pot.
Robbie folds, and Joe picks up the pot.
Once again, Joe is the commanding lead. Dave took a short break. He'll be back with us soon. So it's just me, Tyler Patterson, and 3-time Hall of Fame nominee, Matt Savage.
Just over 2.6 million. Just over 13 million chips in play.
Wow, look at the wood tie has little things where it bends with the way he moves. There's little.
It's amazing.
Cool.
It's the kind of thing you could wear at Burning Man.
I really want Ian to do well now after that amazing fold.
Yeah, there are a lot of shout-outs for him online, too, to do well.
It reminds me of it was a cash game I played one time where I made a heroic fold with a nut flush when my opponent had a straight flush. But I was down to my last buy-in, and I ended up busting it anyway. So it was a good fold, but I got nothing out of it. So I really...
Legacy. You got legacy.
I got legacy out of it, yeah. I got to tilt my opponent who had a good hand.
It's Rayo.
plays much better.
In San Jose, he's allowed to do that.
The posturing is not completely useless. I don't like it personally, and we are seeing his cards on a 30-minute delay, so the players get to know what he did. But not everyone is necessarily watching the 30-minute delay. They might not have friends telling them what they had, and maybe David isn't using that, you know. So the posturing could be, in his mind, just, you know, I don't want him to think I had nothing. So there's something to it.
Okay. He is a salesman, so there is that.
Didn't want him to think he had 7 deuce, perhaps.
Exactly.
On to the flop, and how about this one? 3 jacks there for Rayo, and he'll just calmly check it on over.
He bets 160,000.
He had queen 10? You had queen 10?
We can. That's awesome.
Oh, he's getting the news right now about his epic fold.
It's so terrible fold, according to my round. Dude, I've been thinking, this whole time I've been thinking, he had fucking queen 10. He's trying to
He's saying he would shove ace jack, but he wouldn't.
Oh my god, I feel
I have a feeling he doesn't care about this hand anymore, but he's still in it with the nut flush draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just picked up the nut flush draw, and all of a sudden, you're right.
Look at Rayo.
And Rayo's like, hey,
pay
guys, shut up. Focus on this. Move some chips in.
He's 100% checking now that they're talking about that hand.
Is the 6 of diamonds.
6 of diamonds on the river. The flush does not get there.
someone to say that for the last 30 seconds. Someone's about to yell he had the queen 10.
And you can almost see the disappointment on Rayo's face. That
Yeah.
I know you only have 550,000 in mind.
That's 250,000.
Well, he folded the set of kings. I think he can probably get away from this one.
Part of Ian now is thinking, wait a minute, I wasn't paying attention. He might be bluffing because we're just talking. What is going on here? Oh my goodness.
What's going on here? It's awesome. That's good stuff. That's really good stuff.
It was cool getting to see his reaction real time.
along with us as we crown ourselves a champion this evening. Again, almost $300,000 up top to our winner. Rayo looking down at 8-6 of spades, so a couple suited connectors for him.
170,000.
Going to raise it up to 170. And with a couple of rags getting out of the way. King 10 of clubs over to Joe.
Joe takes a look and he will make the call of 170,000.
How do you assume I looked?
170,000.
What's crossed?
400. Raised to 400,000.
And David wakes up with Big Slick, and he is going to raise it on up to 400,000.
That should do it.
Suited
for the
ace
team.
king, pretty good spot for him. Yeah, Rayo's getting pushed off.
Not betting.
Rayo will be first.
Rayo here with Jack 9, 80,000 to go, and took a little while to make the decision. He goes ahead and lays it down. 9.
He checks. Over to Joe.
Raised 180.
And Joe, being the table captain that he is, says 9-4 clubs. Sure, why not? Let's raise it up again. 180,000 to go. David has called him down a couple of times.
It's interesting to see Joe right back in the saddle after getting 3-bet when he opened the 8-4 clubs, just opened the 9-4 clubs the next hand. He realizes it's time to put the pedal to the metal. Everybody's probably trying to wait Ian out, or Rayo, or Ping. They're all kind of short, so they're knows the guys are going to wait each other out, so he's going to just put the pressure on.
Raise 600,000.
He's going to raise to make it 600,000.
Apparently Rayo is having none of that. Not waiting for anybody to
7
move.
of clubs. Yeah, 600,000 in chips. Sure, why not?
Yeah, he's not waiting for people to bust and move up the ladder. He wants to win the tournament. Joe's berating him. He's saying, don't you know there's a guy with 10 bigs? You're supposed to be waiting for him to bust.
Rayo seems unimpressed with this free poker lesson that he's received. $1,000 up top, or 1,000 points rather, and then 800 points, 700, 600, 500, and DJ walked away with 400 for his 6th place finish.
Which meant something for DJ because he's already got some points built up this year. None of these players have won a WPT yet. Joe has 2 other final tables, both at Borgata, both finished 4th. And of course his main event title.
He actually said on his bio sheet that if he finishes 4th again, he's going to quit.
Oh, man.
Have you seen his bio sheets? Now. Have you seen his bio sheets?
Oh, yeah. He loves filling out bio sheets. His favorite thing.
In the Facebook Live, they're asking who's commentating. So I'm here with the Executive Tour Director, Matt Savage. I'm Tyler Patterson.
And my name is Dave Farah. I'm piped in from Las Vegas. Great to be with you guys this evening.
Gotta listen to your radio show, Dave. I haven't heard it.
That's not very good.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
You need to go to a Golden Knights game sometime together there, Matt Savage. I see you there all the time rocking your gear.
Yes,
looks like you have been thoroughly enjoying the old T-Mobile Arena.
Oh, it's awesome. I sit next to Daniel Negreanu, so I'm on the Jumbotron all the time.
That's because of your beautiful wife, not because of Daniel Negreanu.
They say you sound like Norm Macdonald. You ever heard that before, Dave?
Norm Macdonald?
Yes.
No, but sure, I'll take it. I like Norm.
I do too.
Joe's talking about them getting tired. They played till 3 in the morning here. You were here working until 3 in the morning, huh?
I was. Then we have to bag up and put all the information in the computer and get ready for today. We showed up here around 10 a.m. this morning.
Since no one has busted in a while, the average stack has gone from 44 to 33 big blinds.
Raise 170,000.
Makes it 175,000.
And Joe has a vast majority of them, so the rest of the players are playing kind of short now.
Joe has a couple ladies in his hand.
This is a precarious spot for Rayo. He could, if he doesn't believe Joe, this could be a bad one for him.
475,000.
475 from Joe. Things out of the way, Rayo. Considering his options, and looks like he's going to come right along. So we've already got a pot here of 1.1 million, and we are going to go to the flop.
The flop is the 8 of diamonds.
Oh. So 3 queens now for Joe, right out of the gate. 8-9 also on the flop.
That board is coordinated enough. It hits enough hands that I don't think Joe's going to check. I think he's going to bet, and Rayo's going to be in a tough spot again.
Joe makes a bet.
380,000.
It is 380,000.
380,000 is the bet into a pot of over 1.1 million, and
We have a raise.
Rayo pretty quickly going to make the call there.
Nah, he raised it
no,
up.
oh, excuse me, those, yeah, all in, and oh, this could be it for Rayo.
Well, Rayo raised it to $1 million, which is weird for him now because he's almost priced in for the rest of his chips. He might be, even though he only has ace high and a gut shot.
Got less than $1 million behind, 6.4 in the center of the table.
Almost exactly right if he could see those percentages. He's still supposed to call almost. Kicking himself for raising. Pretty big misstep for Rayo, but it's going to be tough to play that hand out of position against Joe. But also, you just don't want to fold that hand to a 3-bet from Joe because it's just better than most hands you open.
He's going to find a way to fold as well.
Good
Joe's
fold.
going to add 1.6 million to his stack.
Pretty big, pretty fast. In the end, it was up to Rayo to make that call for him.
As you see there, Rayo lost 60% of his stack on that hand, and you can just see the look in his eyes. He is having a hard time dealing with that one. It was a definite misstep, and I think he knows it. So he is now 5th in chips, less than $1 million in his stack, and he has got a long way to go to get back into the into contention for this thing.
Curacao, I know that, and Jameson.
And Red Bull.
Not Red Bull.
And
Red Bull, no.
Rayo's making the
I mean
move.
Rockstar.
Rockstar Energy, sorry.
Rockstar Energy drink.
Sorry.
Yes.
900,000.
The Rockstar trash can.
905,000.
And Rayo survives, another all-in.
More minutes than I can pee.
I would probably open it myself, but I don't hate that he pulled it.
Rayo on the button. Ace, Queen of Hearts. And he's going to make his move.
Ian with an ace still folds.
All in for
Ian has played
Joe, King 10.
Joe is going to make
Wow, he's going to make the call. Rayo's tournament life hangs in the balance.
King of clubs, Rayo, ace, queen of hearts. All right, Ben, let's see the flop.
Here we go to the flop.
Flop is out.
6. Trade, Jack.
6 of spades, Jack of hearts, and the 3 of hearts. So Rayo flops the flush
Big
draw.
lead now for Rayo because
Joe
of the
still
hearts.
has the king of 10. Let's see. Turn card. It is the 5 of spades.
5
So
of
nothing changes
spades.
there on the turn.
No change there. Rayo, even without the hearts, going to
We
get
are
there
going to see.
with his ace high. And there you have it. 3 of clubs, and Rayo stays alive. That means main 5-handed here at Thunder Valley. We've got $300,000 up top for our winner. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got 5 players vying for the title, $300,000, and world famous Pat Lyons joining us in the commentary booth. Back.
I'm sorry. How much do you have again?
No clue. Cool. I think you said 2.5.
I just heard everything else.
200,000.
All right, we're back. It was pretty fun watching that highlight again. Just that fold from Ian is just amazing.
We have now in our presence the Director of Poker Operations here at Thunder Valley Resort and Casino, Mr. Ben Irwin. He'll be taking over for a few minutes. Here you are.
Welcome, Ben.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
I guess you could say that, yes. Yeah, it was watching that highlight with you guys. That was amazing.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I'm really rooting for Ian.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm supposed to be unbiased. We got a really big hand brewing right here in front of us. Rayo bets 100,000. David is thinks he's trapping, I'm sure. If they were deeper, that card might slow things down a little bit, but I think they're probably still going to get it in.
So I've been seeing a lot of the event without the whole cards. It seems like David has been battling all day. It seems like he's...
That is correct. He's trying. Trying really hard. He put himself in some pretty awkward spots, but he's been...
Yeah, it looks like he's gotten away from a couple.
Yeah,
made a couple plays. He made that one play on Joe. He was pretty stoked. I saw the smile as he showed the Stone Cold Bluff. He felt good about it.
Yeah, that was great. We can talk to you a little more about Thunder Valley as soon as this big hand is over with. Rayo hates it and calls, but his hand is actually the best. He thought he was beat, called anyway, and it happens to be good. Well, he didn't all get in there, so David stays alive. That's a big pot for Rayo, though. He was moving up the chart.
So we're doing some testing here on the Vegas side, but I'll digress on that. Great to hear your voice. Let's not get distracted. A couple of Cowboys here for Ian, so this could be a really interesting hand.
Yes.
I'm glad to see you're doing so well, Ben.
Thank you.
Keep hearing great stuff about your room up there. So 230 there from Ian. Over to David with Jack 4. He's going to obviously hop out of the way. So is Ping. Rayo, who managed to stay alive before the break, also says no thanks. And Ian will scoop a pot of 210,000 chips. So not
just the blinds, but still it's movement. Everybody's so short now that because McKeon has a big lead, everybody's kind of tightened up. So just winning the blinds is pretty valuable.
One thing about Ian I noticed when I was out there, as word traveled about his huge laydown, it changed his demeanor at the table.
Oh yeah, he got excited.
Yes, it was amazing. He was pretty miserable trying to figure out what happened there. But you can just see him now. I just saw him. I said he hasn't looked like he's having any fun for a while, but he looks good now.
Maybe you can make him a bounty at this thing. Who are all the bounties in your...
So working with Matt, we were able to get a pretty strong lineup. So Mike Sexton, of course, being here for the book signing is wonderful, and Matt will be playing. So yes,
that's fun.
Yes, so he will not be making any decisions on that day, other than which hand to play. But also Adam Pliska from WPT. He's confirmed to be here. It was great to have him visit this weekend and be back for that. Lynn Gilmartin, she'll be here. Lon McCarron, which you guys spoke with earlier. Our very own Tyler Patterson is going to be here. Justin Hammer from Commerce. Commerce has been a great tour partner with WPT. Looking forward to have him come up and visit. Rhett Porter, the celebrity bounty concept was something him and I were talking about, something you guys used to do up at Tulalip, kind of a hybrid of that. He'll be here. JC Tran, he's best of sack. He'll be here. And then Jeff Fielder, who won the WPT Deep Stacks Championship.
I met that guy this week. He's good.
Yes.
So while we were talking, there's interesting hand brewing. It was opened by Joe with Queen Jack, and then Rayo called with Ace 6 suited, And Ian is shoving all in as a squeeze with the ace-3 suited over the top. And that's a sizable pot to pick up right there, and pretty brave to shove that many chips in with the ace-3 suited. So another great play by Ian. We have to give him credit.
You know, when Ian's cashing the Deep Stacks Championship, that was his biggest.
Really?
Yeah. So that fourth place.
On the blinds, 15K is Nancy.
So a little stat about Rayo. We talked with him the other night. He's been playing poker 18 months.
Yeah, we heard that.
18 months.
That is amazing.
Picked it up pretty quick, huh?
You could say that. He said
minimum he's going to walk from this table with is about $70,000. So the next person out, $69,650.
Yeah, he said he got into poker by watching YouTube videos. And the next thing you know, he wanted to play the game. That was about a year and a half ago.
King 3-5 on the flop. David gets the best of that. Top pair, 10 as a kicker.
Rayo with the wheel draw. Could get frisky with that. He probably won't fold it anyway. Ian, when checked to in these situations, has bet every time, and I think he might do it again.
May not be the best time for a bluff, but we'll see. He lays it out.
Yeah.
Yep, David instantly comes right over the top and goes all in.
What was that? About a mil. Oh, about a mil. I cannot be the king.
Dynamic a lot now. That won't last.
Rayo looks down. Yeah, right. Rayo looks down at pocket sixes here. 225 is already the size of this pot, and Rayo's going to jump it up a couple 100,000 more.
When the stacks end up getting short like this, they have to collide. So it'll soon, we're going to lose a player, and the average will jump back up.
Rayo's going to take it down with that single raise. So it'll also be interesting to see how defensive these guys get with their blinds when, you know, you got 9 or 10 or even 12 big blinds, and somebody's coming through and they're just stealing them from you every time. How many times are you going to allow that to happen before you have to take a stand?
We're just drinking on day one. When did we start drinking today?
All talking about drinking together. I mean, there's good rapport in this table. There was the Illusions player party with an open bar, so we all got to meet each other. I met Rayo there. All of us there were hanging out. So you guys do a good job giving some variety of things to do and getting the players together out here.
We always have a good time, that's for sure. But with Matt bringing in the 8-hour play day, that's really what allows for that. So makes the overall experience great.
Speaking of a good time, I can see Pat Lyons here in the background. I want to get him in the booth.
Yes.
World famous Pat Lyons?
Some say a good time, yes.
World famous Pat Lyons.
World famous. He says world famous. This is true.
All right, this could be interesting. Rayo looking down at a couple of jacks. Joe over there with king, queen suited. $600,000.
Wow.
Is the raise from Rayo. 400K more to go for Joe.
Very interesting spot from Joe. Poor Joe.
Joe makes the call. We'll see a flop with 2 players.
It's not going to go anywhere. Joe comes along. Also doesn't put him in.
Ooh, king right there in the window. So that is really bad news for Rayo, especially if he decides that he's going to be the one to keep his foot on the gas here.
I think that flop might shut him down. He might get 1 C-bet, and that's probably it.
Yeah, that's not a great flop for your pocket jacks, huh?
Oh.
So bet of 500,000 there from Rayo, and Joe just going to make the call.
I like Joe using the hand and his position and just playing the pot rather than jamming all in and trying to pressure Rayo out of the pot. Wow, Rayo bets again. That's just too small. If he would have fired, if he would have committed there, I think that may have worked. This bet is pretty small. It may still work, but I don't think so. I think Joe's gonna sniff it out.
Joe calls the start.
Joe just makes the call there.
Yeah.
And an 8 of clubs on the river, and now Rayo slows it down with just a check. Joe says, yeah, I got some showdown value, and shows pair of kings, and that is a huge hit for Rayo.
So what do you think, Tyler? He has
Pot there of 3.3 million.
It's a pretty good
He
call.
could have gone for it on the river there. The shove gets it or no?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. Also, I think just maybe like 800,000 instead of 500,000 on the turn might have done it.
Yeah. Also, too, I was wondering, just player perspective. They haven't lost a player in, we're pushing 5 hours.
Yeah.
What that does to kind of the mindset is you're getting into hands, and it's that level of frustration because there's been times when guys could be out, but they keep hanging in there.
Absolutely, and it makes them all short, and everything matters so much now. And Joe is kind of running away with it.
Well, he's kept that chip lead throughout. Funny listening to him at the table. He's actually a pretty funny guy.
Oh yeah.
They are having a good time. At least they were earlier.
We can hear him on the stream. We're getting Joe's needles.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for having me. I'm going to pass this over to Flying Lions.
All right.
Here he comes in.
Yeah.
Farrah, great to hear from you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, great to hear you too, man. It's been too long. Would love to catch up if you ever swing it down through Vegas, and you can bet that I'll be calling you if I ever get up to Northern California to bug you at your great poker room up there.
Hey, that sounds like a plan. Thanks so much.
See you, Ben.
So Rayo with another big hand. Couple of cowboys for him. Just makes the call on this one. So doing a little bit of trapping here. He's not leading the way after losing a big pot to Joe.
Wow, yeah. Rayo just goes with the limp. Joe raises.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a flat call from Rayo after Joe opened. Is that what happened?
Yeah, just so Joe opened with a raise to 200, and then Rayo just flatted him.
Okay. That's nice.
And another check there from Rayo. Check from Ian. Let's see if Joe does the bidding. Nope.
Joe has a piece, but doesn't want to get blown off it.
Wow. And speaking of getting blown off it, how about this for Ian? He also had a piece of it with middle pair. Now, all of a sudden, trip tens.
After this big hand, we'll welcome you in here, Pat.
Checks. Ian moves out for 255,000. Joe folds.
Oh, that's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Rayo goes all in now. He has the king of clubs.
Rayo showing pocket kings.
So he does have
So
10
any
outs.
Ian showing
Any king
10
or an ace
3 of a kind 10.
of clubs, of course, will do it for him as well, but it's got to be a club or it's got to be a king. Rayo's tournament life hangs in the balance.
So far, his trap has backfired.
And it is a jack of hearts on the river and Ian with a full house. And now we are down to first. Rayo, a heck of a wooden necklace. The finest rings I've ever seen at the final table. And now $7,000 as he walks away in fifth. So congratulations to Rayo. A lot of fun to watch play. You excited coming.
$9,650.
A pleasure to call. He works his way through this one, walking away with $70,000. Great cash for him on a $3,500 pot.
Yeah, he was a fan favorite, and he's walking away with $70,000, so it's not so bad. I'm sure we'll see Rayo again.
For a guy that just started poker 18 months ago by watching YouTube, that's pretty good.
Really, really good. And